there. So, and then you should
All
have
right.
screen abilities.
Yeah, I have screen share. I'm trying to decide if I should show the trailer really quick, the clip trailer I made really quick first.
Yeah, has anybody not seen it, the Rudy trailer that he made?
Well, if everyone's seen it, I don't need to show it.
No, I've seen
I
it.
don't know if I've seen it, actually.
All right, I'll show it really quick. It's only 2 minutes.
Right ahead.
I've never screen shared before. Give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And did you make sure you click the checkbox for share sound and optimize video?
I don't know. Where do I do those checkboxes?
Okay, just pause it real quick, and then when you go back to screen share, before like
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, there'll be 2 checkboxes for share computer sound and optimize video clip. Sure both of those are clicked. There should be like in the bottom, like 2 checkboxes.
I have like a bar at the top right now.
Yeah, look for, yeah, it should be under the screen share option. Like when you click screen share option, it's like a 2-step. So then there should be like.
Here, let me stop it really quick and then start it again. Oh, there we go. I see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just click those 2 checkboxes.
All right.
All right.
Claymation. You've all heard
See it?
how Rudy, with nose so bright, guided Fat Man's sleigh that night. But have ever wondered how his nose got so bright? How he managed to stay up to guide sleigh all freaking night? Well, that's where I come in.
It's snowing harder than a party at Frosty's. Ho ho, hurry the fuck up!
This is Rudy's story.
You know Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen.
On Dasher and Prancer, coming out clean with the dancer. Step on the scene, call me Santa. Moving so fast like a lancer. Getting them gifts for the children. Cookies and making the building. We making the move, we go all night. Look at the reindeers, they take flight. One of the reindeers is assholes, giving me all of the trouble. They call him Rudolph the Red-Nosed. They say that he's stuck in a bubble. Don't take the shit for a joke. He's snorting up all of the coke. Fucking with all of the hoes. That's how he lights up his nose.
You've become a liability. It's time you left.
You Santa Claus. You Santa Claus.
Rudolph had to get his mind right. He left the North Pole on that one night. He went on his way to the South Pole. You could just see that he turned cold. Santa didn't know what to do. Rudy just broke up the crew. Rudy is intoxicated. Drugs keeping him elevated. He and Santa had a fallout. Started a fight, they went all out. Rudolph then went on a rampage. Treat the whole club like a man cave.
All right.
Oh, that was great. I like that.
And it's actually like a full 20, it's like 22 minutes.
I'm the boss.
Yeah. Wait, how do I make that stuff? Hold on, sorry.
Walk in the building, I own it.
So that's like 22 minutes, which means that it's about 7,000 frames.
Wow.
Wow, that is wild.
Most of them are individually edited. A lot of them are looped. But as far as the basics go of it, and it's kind of ghetto, it's only five frames per second. If you want it to be higher quality, you usually go for about 10 frames per second for that, maybe even higher. But mostly I wrote a script and I really wanted to turn it into something. What I realized as far as the script goes, all right, I'm trying to figure. I haven't taught a class in a while.
The teacher's lesson session.
I got my biggest problem with it is I got so excited when I wrote the first draft of the script that I was like, I'm gonna make it right now. Where typically a script I would rewrite a whole bunch of times, and I regretted not doing that because it's a pain in the ass to go back and change. But so if you do do some sort of stop motion or anything, just make sure you have the script perfect first. Don't get too excited that you can just make it in your living room.
Mm.
I broke down the script like I typically would any script or for any sort of production. So with the stop motion, you're going through and you have to build each of the scenes. So separate out all the scenes, see what you can reuse for different things. And then the characters, obviously, you have to build each of them individually. So you want to see what, like, it's just like, just like any movie where you want to see what you can use for more things, what props you can reuse. You can also green screen it, so you can put a green screen behind it and not build the scenes, and then just put your own pictures behind, which a friend of mine did recently, and it turned out really well. I didn't do that for this, but it is definitely an option that would make it a lot easier because I have a garage full of little mini sets now. This is one of the sets. This is the set I used for the last scene. For this, I like the clouds moving, the different special effects. Like you can see I had the bars at the top.
Wow.
And so that was so I could slide the clouds along as I did each frame. And then I could have like I used them for other things where I'd have the reindeer flying. So I'd have them floating in the air. And then each individual frame, I would edit out the wires. So that's a lot. For claymation specifically, and actually most stop motion. So if you're using anything but paper, so if you're using stuffed animals, if you're using clay, you're going to want to build skeletons out of aluminum wire and then put them inside the clay or the stuffed animals or whatever you end up using, so you can move them easier. They don't break apart, they'll stay in place. I learned pretty quick to make multiples of each character because they get screwed up as you move them over and over again. They get other colors stuck to them. You can even see on these, there's like fur from the clouds stuck to them. The bigger they are, the harder it is to make because you have to make bigger sets, but the more flexibility you have in moving their mouths, limbs, making them look a little bit more realistic. But the smaller they are, then you can do it on a tighter budget and a little bit easier. For this one, I used my phone to film everything, and I used a program called Stop Motion Studio. So in that program, you can set it to like take the pictures automatically. So every 2 seconds or 5 seconds, depending on how much stuff you're moving. And also in that program, you can edit out wires and stuff. You can go back and edit them out. I ended up doing that for a little bit, but then I started editing everything out in Photoshop just because I got a cleaner look. Like you can see on this bottom center picture that's how it edits out in the Stop Motion Studio. You can also use a DSLR camera and plug it directly into your computer and run it from Adobe Lightroom and have a similar setup where it takes frame by frame pictures and puts them into Lightroom, and you can just edit them there. Let's see what else with this. You want to make sure that you have a solid tripod so it doesn't move. Otherwise, it'll get all screwed up. You have to have it like very, very stable, especially since you're going to be reaching around it a lot, moving stuff consistently. You want to make sure that it stays in place and the whole frame doesn't get shifted because that'll screw up all the work you've done, basically. Let's see, that's enough there. Once again, decide your frames per second. Decide if you care about like how smooth the characters actually move and making it look more realistic, or if you're on a time crunch. If you're doing it with like 1 or 2 people like I did, it's really hard to do a lot of frames per second and move everything really smoothly because you are only one person. You kind of need multiple people to move things around at once so it doesn't get screwed up. But if you're doing a kind of like leaning into the ghetto-ness of it, then you can kind of do less frames per second and do it by yourself. Editing stuff out in post, is a pain in the ass. Like this white snow behind here had a crease in it, or it was like two pieces of paper glued together, and I had to edit out all this like seams in every frame. So take some time, buy bigger pieces of paper, build the sets properly so you don't have to fix it later. Let's see. There's a lot of looping. I used a lot of looping to do everything. So I would just do one mouth movement as they're talking and then repeat it and change the length of the frames to match the talking. I think audio is next. Yeah. So normally if you were doing like ADR, wait, is that what it's called? If you were like, you would normally have someone come in and record their voice trying to match the mouth movements. With stop motion, I did it the opposite way. I would record the audio and then match the movements to the audio, like to the voices. So I would move their mouths. Because every movement is just a frame. So you can make the frame longer to match words or to emphasize certain things, or stop the movements in between words. So I would match it up after I had the audio. Once again, a lot of looping. The Foley stuff, like all of the sound effects, I just downloaded off of different websites instead of making them myself. Music, this one, the full 20-minute thing has 4 original songs that we recorded for it and wrote for it. You can see here, each of these are different frames edited together. This is what, about 40 seconds? And there's hundreds and hundreds of frames in there. So once again, about that trailer has about 1,000 frames. The full thing has about 7,000. And these are just the different Foley effects, soundtrack, audio, Foley, everything all mixed in there. So it gets it's a lot more complicated than it sounds at first, and it's a whole different type of editing than you would normally do in filming, because you're creating the entire thing through editing. And you do have a little bit of flexibility with this, which is nice. So say you want to change the wording and something, change the scene around a little bit, even after it's filmed, you can go back and reuse things you filmed and just re-edit them, re-edit the mouth movements and that kind of thing, and then redo the audio. And I definitely held on to all the sets and all the characters so I could do reshoots and change it as much as I want. It's not like you're calling back actors to reshoot things, you know. You can just redo it in your living room if you want to add a line or just change the plot slightly. So that's pretty cool. I don't really know what else to say about it.
But a loss for words, man. Great stuff.
That's pretty cool.
I had a couple questions, but if anybody wants to go first, any thoughts? Oh yeah, first thing I want to say is, did you create like all of the little clay figures yourself, and how long did it take to make, let's say, that strip club scene? Like, how long did it take to create all that?
It took a while. I started on Christmas in New York, so we created a couple there with my family in New York. But I'd say probably 75% of them on my own. Each clay figure, depending on the intricacy, like Rudolph, for example, I had multiple ones of him and was really intricate because he's in everything, and he had a light in his nose that was a little LED I connected to a battery. So that one took probably an hour. Some of the simpler ones, like Humpty Dumpty, took 10 minutes, you know. So it just varies, and it varies on how much. Like Humpty Dumpty doesn't have like an inner skeleton or anything, but the ones that are moving a lot, you have to build those little skeletons and then build the clay around them. So it takes longer.
Okay. And I mean, you know, how much did it maybe cost you, maybe materials, parts, labor? Did you go to like Michael's, or I know they have a Michael's here, arts and crafts.
No, there's a Michael's. It's in the valley.
Oh, okay.
Trust me. Spent a lot of time there. I mean, honestly, it was probably like $100 total, 150. And I had some paper already. A lot of the stuff I found around the house, you know, like, but then just buying clay. Michael's has really cheap clay, but you end up buying a lot more than you would expect you would need, especially to get the right colors. A lot of it was like combining colors to make brown because I just couldn't get enough brown for all the reindeer.
Man, oh shoot. A lot of brown, a lot of reindeers. Dude, it looked amazing, man. I just couldn't believe like it literally took me back to like one of those old school Mad TV like claymation things. Like it just looks so official, you know. So you say you have like 20 minutes, like a 20-minute
Yeah, it's like 20, I think 22 or 23 minutes. But like I said, I just didn't put enough time into the script. And so what I kind of need to do is go back, rewrite the script like I never made it, and then see if I have enough that I can kind of alter it without having to film too much new stuff. But I'm just not happy with the overall plot of it. It's weird. It's a weird medium because like especially like transitions and stuff between scenes, like there's just few things that are a little that don't come across as well as they do with real life actors as far as like just pauses. I don't know, it's a little confusing, but I need to revisit it for sure before I put the full thing fully out there.
man. Yeah, man. Just think about the possibilities, you know. Obviously, we don't take up too much of your time, but it's like, you know, there are certain sketches that, you know, hey, what if this was part claymation? You know?
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's definitely pretty easy, but you could add claymation to real life sketches too. Like it would be very simple for us to have one of our characters in Mortal Kombat fighting a claymation person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or maybe we could turn Dan's sucker, a clay sucker, you know, for a dance script. You know, I don't know, we read his script earlier, so yeah, you never know.
Oh, okay, that's the one I missed.
There's possibilities. I'm good. Colton, Dan, you guys got any questions? Anything?
No, I'm good.
Nice.
I'm all set.
All right, cool. All right, well, we're good to go. Go take this off record. Yeah, I think other than that, guys, we already went through the whole meeting.